Good morning, everyone. We're going to be doing some Draftkings best ball drafts today. Did a first stream yesterday on Underdog, and I thought it went pretty well. I like to kind of hop back and forth between Draftkings and Underdog. You know, both two very top-heavy contests. The main ones, same price point. Draftkings is another milli up top, 3 million compared to 2. Obviously, it's full PPR, full point per PPR, unlike Underdog. So, slightly different strategy, but Draftkings is definitely more of the Wild West, I like to call it. You never know, who's going to be drafting against you. A lot of people would get free tickets. A lot of people that don't really know exactly what they're doing or just making crazy picks. Whereas Underdog seems like it's a little more kind of on by the book. A lot of especially at this time in the draft cycle where we don't even know the NFL schedule yet. So definitely not a ton of casuals, I'm guessing, drafting right now, but you do see them. But yeah, let's get into it. So let's see. I think I've done 28 on Underdog. This is going to be number 27 on DraftKings. So I like to kind of keep it, like I said, I like to alternate. So kind of one to one usually. So I need to do 2 to catch up. Crazy thing about the 940,000 people that are going to enter this tournament. So pretty wild. They had to beat that many people in such a top-heavy prize structure, but definitely fun. Only 57,000 people so far, so pretty decent number for this early on, like I said, in the season. Usually fill pretty quickly, but we'll see. Pretty similar strategy as I kind of talked about yesterday a little bit on my stream. Just really trying to get different structure than most. So, I think a lot of people are just kind of seeing how expensive running backs, quarterbacks, tight ends have become. And I kind of just lean more into that. Like, I think the NFL is going to lean more tight end heavy, flatter receiver scoring, and rather than fitting into these buckets of draft capital you hear people talk about, really just trying to get as much draft capital as possible in quarterback, running back, tight end, and just, having a bunch of just crappy receivers, honestly, with maybe one top-heavy guy, like a Michael Pittman type is what I'm looking for. Just, cheaper production as like a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, and just building different teams, just different structures. The typical structure on DraftKings is kind of like the 3-6-8-3. So I've been building a lot of like 3-5, 8-4s, or even the 3-4-9-3, just different stuff, just slightly different. Trying to beat 940,000 people. Got to get different somewhere, and you don't want to give up too much projection because obviously ADP, there's inefficiencies, but the market's pretty sharp usually. I know early on we're just all kind of guessing at what depth charts really look like, but I think it's definitely getting better than other years. And it is hard to just. The reason I do like hyperfragile running backs so much is because I think that there's very few of the like real true bell cow guys anymore. And even like the handcuff guys, like there's very few even just true handcuffs. It's a lot of three backfield types, like, Tampa Bay is a good example. Just, you have Bucky Irving, you have Gainwell, you have Sean Tucker. They all kind of fill their roles. All are going to get carries. Could even all three get targets each week. If, other years, let's say, if it was just Bucky Irving, Sean Tucker, Sean Tucker would just fill Bucky's role. But now if Bucky goes down, Gainwell's, he'll probably get a couple more carries weekly than he would in his normal role, but he's going to kind of do that passing Rachaad White role. Sean Tucker's going to play more on early downs, kind of fill more of what Bucky did, but still not be a true bell cow. So, it's just harder to, I think it's just harder to do zero running back and feel confident, because now, to find a bell cow in some of these backfields, you're looking at not just one injury, but like two injuries, so something to think about. I know people still do zero running back, especially on Draftkings. I see a lot of people just, ripping wide receivers early, but it's not something I'm going to be really doing much of. And that, it could change as the draft cycle clicks on here. Prices are going to change with the schedule. We'll definitely see kind of, what the market thinks are the best Week 17 matchups. Definitely interested to see what they think. Just how guys are going to fluctuate with ADP. Depending on what matchups there are. But, if we look at last season's Week 17, it's pretty ugly. I understand lots of injuries, lots of quarterbacks injured, lots of players injured, but let's just go through the receiving leaders in each game last year. Dallas, Washington was definitely a popular stacking game. 30-23, sounds like, 53 points. Sounds like a great game environment, and Kevontae Turbin was the receiving leader. That was a game that featured both Pickens, both Lamb. So it wasn't even an injury that really caused this, but 186-yard reception for a touchdown was the leading score on Dallas. And, it's kind of the NFL that we're in right now. Low scoring, a lot of running. Javonte was kind of had his dinged up shoulder second half of the year, so Malik Davis got more carries just because it didn't really matter. I'm sure that factored into why Pickens and Lamb didn't do much either. Just, didn't really matter. So just an example, something to think about. Is this the Week 17 we're going to see this year? Just Minnesota, Detroit, in a dome, popular stacking game. Amon-Ra, 68 yards, led the receivers in that game. Just flat, very flat receiving production. So let's see if that continues. So we drew the 5th pick here. I do like that. It's kind of nice to be flexible, kind of in the middle of the draft versus having to make 2 picks on either end. It's also, squarely in the kind of like the big 3 of receivers, Chase, Puka, and Jigba. I think those are the clear best. Amon-Ra, especially with point PPR, he's up there with them, but I do think those 3 are the clear, all right, if anyone's going to bury you Week 17, put up a 40-point game, or Week 16 like Puka did. What did he have last year? We've seen those Chase games, 48 points or whatever. Some of these games are crazy here. Week 17 he had a dud, but Week 16 to get people into the finals, 49 points, 30, 38. And then he kills you with 15. So definitely tough. But yeah, anyone that can do this, 49 points in 1 week, is someone that can absolutely, if you just don't have that guy and he goes off for that in Week 17, not much you can really do. But I guess you could say the same thing about Bijan and Gibbs. I'm definitely a Gibbs #1 guy if I had the #1 pick. Bijan at 3 is definitely going to be unique. But I also don't see any reason why any of these Any of these 6 guys can go 1 through 6, honestly. Yeah, let's just take JSN. And maybe there'll be, you know, stronger opinions on any of these 6 guys. Or, sorry. Yeah, 6 guys when the schedule comes out. Because obviously, you know, one could have a really horrible matchup on paper, but probably won't sway me too much. A lot of people been drafting like Justin Jefferson or like before CMC, before Taylor. You know, like I said yesterday, kind of not really for me. I see him clearly behind those 4 that I mentioned: Chase, Nakua, and Jigba, and St. Brown. To me, he, you know, obviously any of these first 2, even first 3 round guys have 30-point ceilings, but I just don't see like a 40-point ceiling from Justin Jefferson, just with his quarterback play. Either JJ McCarthy or Kyler Murray, I don't think either one are particularly good NFL quarterbacks, and you know, that's the main reason. I mean, I think Jefferson clearly has the talent of those top 4 receivers, but to me, it's just the quarterback play of just the offense. I don't know. I'm not super excited about Minnesota. Rice at 10 is certainly early, but like I said, this is DraftKings. It's pretty crazy here. You're really just looking for some kind of unique combo. That's the biggest thing that you know, I get excited about. I don't really, you know, like, all these guys are very similar in their weekly projections. Obviously, you do need some early running backs, like I said, because of the kind of fall off and the opportunity cost, all that good stuff. But really could make a case for any of these guys. I mean, obviously, I have my own kind of order of who I like. I think I mentioned yesterday, Jeremiah Love, have him ahead of a lot of these guys like Hampton, Chase Brown, definitely Henry on DraftKings with just the scoring format. I think Jeremiah Love is a great pick. I'll definitely take him here at 20 if he's available. But yeah, we'll see. Neighbors at 16, so we got a St. Brown Neighbors start. Seeing a lot of Cook, Barkley, Cook A-Chain, Cook Genty, kind of in the 12-13 spot there, especially if Jefferson or Lamb go early. Walker, CMC. Here goes Hampton. All right, yeah. Jeremiah Love, man. I think that, like I said, the Cardinals, I think they're going to be, this new coaching regime, they're going to be really bad, but I think they're going to slow down a little bit. They're not going to get in these shootouts with Jacoby Brissett or whoever it is back there at the end of the season. Really doesn't matter who starts the year, but who's going to be week 17 quarterbacks, which should be your mindset. Probably Carson Beck, see what he has, I guess, if they're out of the playoff picture, which they probably will be. But yeah, I think it's going to be kind of like A-Chain in Miami. They're not good, but Love's going to touch the ball a ton. He's a really good receiver, which is great on DraftKings. I think I saw a player comp of him, of Jahmyr Gibbs, which is just pure ceiling as a rookie. And I know the player comps, just a data point. We don't want to just put everything on that, but the reason I like him over Hampton is Marion Hampton's player comp is like Ramondre Stevenson, which is fine, but I think Vidal's going to get a lot of work. I think Keaton Mitchell's going to spell him. I just think Love has more ceiling, especially end of year ceiling. I don't really care if he starts off slow. If Algier is kind of even splitting work with him first 6 games, I'm really worried about the end of the season where I think he could be just kind of, given all the touches, see what he can do, and that's what I'm looking for there. So Pickens goes. There's Nico Collins has been kind of falling. I don't mind him here at 29. I'm going to do that. typically start off, 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds, but every once in a while, I like change it up with a couple of receivers there, and then that'll kind of allow us to just kind of, like I said, draft all the auxiliary positions, running backs, tight ends, quarterbacks, and then maybe go for like a Michael Pittman type as like a wide receiver 3. Because I really don't like the other receivers in this range. I think they're all overvalued for what they really are. And there's a lot of running backs that I do like in the 4th, 5th, 6th. So Nico's gonna fall here. Happy to take it. So Kyron 33. ETN's interesting. See kind of where his ADP falls. I could see him kind of dropping a little bit. I like Breece Hall. I like Breece Hall and Javonte honestly more than him, but it's not terrible, especially on Draftkings. But I just think that he's a little overblown for what he is. I think people are a little hot on New Orleans just in general. I know that they're kind of exciting with Shuck. He looks pretty good, but I also think he just looks pretty good. I guess we'll see. I mean, it really comes down to what does their playoff schedule look like. If it's really easy, a lot of domes, maybe be a little more excited about New Orleans, but just kind of tempering expectations there on them because the market seems to really love them. Still, no one selected Breece Hall yet, which is surprising. But yeah, Draftkings is weird. Sometimes we see drops on good players. We see people rush to fill a position rather than just pick a really good value at that spot. So also, you get these weird quarterback rooms. I mean, no one's taken a quarterback yet, which is also kind of weird. Or wait, has Josh Allen been taken? Okay, sorry. Josh Allen has been taken. But a lot of times we see some weird, I've seen people start Henry Lamar here in the 1-2 turn. I don't know. You just never know what you're going to get in DraftKings. So there goes Hall. So this is a good car wash salesman. Nice start here. Probably would have preferred Lamb over Rice, but it's fine. A-Chain, ETN, Hall. It's a good start. Okay, so Scatterboo is my favorite pick on DraftKings. Really all sites right now, but I'm also fine with Bucky. I think he might fall a little bit with the news of his shoulder not being 100% yet. I know he had surgery in the offseason, so I'm really not worried about that, but see if he falls a little bit. I still think he's a good player. Good offense. Has a good role. I know his receiving was down last year, which was kind of surprising because he's a good receiver. Or he was as a rookie at least. But yeah, just didn't see as many targets as he had, but just kind of chalking it up as a bad season for him. I know that it is concerning that he doesn't get a ton of the touches inside the 5, so kind of limits his ceiling a little bit. But I think in the 4th round, it's okay. And new offensive coordinator there. Maybe he likes Bucky as the guy to get a couple carries in the goal line there. I mean, that would make sense, but see what happens. And, people have concerns over Scatterboo too with the injury and all that, but just kind of going into the season just assuming all the guys that are hurt are going to be healthy at some point. And, obviously they're not going to be full steam in week 1 probably. That's fine. It's like I said, I'm not too worried about week 1. Obviously you don't want to fall too far behind. You want to advance teams, but the ceiling of any team really comes from the end and just sneaking sneaking the non-Puka teams into Week 17, having Puka drop a terrible game was the key to winning last year. So, or any year really. So here, I definitely like Judkins. I don't even hate price here, honestly. This seems like a pretty wide receiver-ish room. Not a lot of people taking running backs, but it's kind of where I want to be. Let's go ahead and just do Henderson here. I like mixing him in. I noticed that, when we first started doing drafts, seeing him go in the 4th round a lot, it's kind of jarring, but, I think he has upside to... I like Ramondre, but I do like to mix in Henderson because, obviously he does have the upside if he is given a bigger role. I think looked really good last year, limited touches. He's a good receiver. Pairs well with Drake May, in the next round, who I also really like. So, yeah. Definitely not a guy I'm going to, jam, but I think him, Judkins, kind of like a tier of guys. Him, Judkins, Swift, Price. They all kind of have their upsides, downsides. I want to mix them in. I don't want to be too similar to any of those spots. Definitely a little behind on Montgomery. Like I said, if he slides, I'll take him, but just not super exciting kind of player for me. Tootin too. He's appropriately priced, I think. But I think after Tootin, it's a pretty nice little teardrop there. So that's why, like I said, just running backs early is going to be a staple for me. Definitely not a Chuba Hubbard guy, especially that early. Just did not have a good season last year. Maybe it was the calf that I think it was the calf that he kind of fought second half of the year, but didn't look great. Jonathan Brooks, people love this guy every year. If he's healthy, definitely going to cut into Chuba's workload for sure. I'm just not big on the Panthers, just as an offense as a whole. I think Bryce Young's very mid. I think they're also very low tempo, slow it down. Defense, they keep drafting defense, so they should improve a little bit there. Just less shootouts, less excitement. That is the NFL we live in, though. All right, so here's where the quarterbacks start going. So obviously I'd love to get Tootin here. As a faller would be great as a 4th running back. May's gone. Happy to grab Jalen Hurts. I think those guys are only going to get more expensive, or if they stay here, I'm happy to just keep drafting them. All right, so it's a good spot for Bashal Tootin as a 4th running back, so that gives me flexibility to just stay hyper fragile or, pick somebody up at the end as like a 5th, but I don't think I need to go 6, that's for sure, with this room. Also opens up Lawrence, too. If he kind of falls to the 92 range, fine to pair him with Tootin. We already have some kind of later quarterbacks, too, built in here. We have Darnold. We have, I don't really like the Arizona guys. We have Stroud's fine. We have Nico. I like where Baker's priced this year. I think he's behind Shuck, which I think is kind of interesting. Like I said, I think New Orleans in general is just a little pricey for kind of what they are. I know that if you look at Week 17 last year, Shuck had a big game. Olave was the playoff darling, that guy you needed. So I think those guys just get inflated when people see that, and added a really good rookie receiver. So I'm fine with Olave over here, but I'm not taking him at 27. All right, so there's Alec Pierce. So Hurts went. So we still have Dak Prescott, and honestly, totally fine with that. I think there's a pretty nice little break after Prescott. Mahomes, injury concern there. I think he's going to be fine, but might not play the first, or, kind kind of come back slowly the first couple weeks. Dak has some good back stacking options. You know, Flournoy and all those. Really just Flournoy, but I do like Flournoy. Yeah, just open yourself up to some back stacks there. Because as we said, I'm going to take a lot of receivers late. But yeah, I don't want to miss out on one of these quarterbacks, usually. Especially on Draftkings where, you know, you prefer three or two good quarterbacks. For sure. Some of those teams work out well, but Lawrence quickly goes after Prescott. That's interesting. So at 92, we're going to be looking at a tight end for sure. These guys all have tight ends to my left. A lot of guys have not taken a tight end on this side yet. Fanning goes at 79. So whatever we're looking at, Laporta, Pitts. Looks like Kittle's ADP is rising a little bit. Interesting. Some Mahomes at 84, unstacked. You know, people like, it seems like people like do panic a little bit on DraftKings where they just, you know, I guess you could say, did I panic on Prescott? But no, I didn't. But people don't, no one wants us to really not draft a quarterback on DraftKings because there can be like an avalanche of quarterbacks that just start going. And I think more of this is more viable, just taking a quarterback, back stacking, or don't really need to stack as much in this NFL environment. Slow pace games, you know. Kevontae Turpin led the team in week 17. Number of reasons that happened, but that's the NFL we live in. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be stars not playing in week 17, and that's where all the money's won. So no one knows what's going to happen, but I just think stacking is slowly becoming less important. Obviously, when you can do it, yeah, it's great, but Dak by himself is also perfectly viable. So, like I said, I'm looking for a tight end here. Fitz went pretty early. Love to get Laporta here. It opens up Goff if I would like him, but we'll see. Probably prefer like Michael Pittman. Surprised Jalen Warren is still here. He's been kind of rising up, seems like, but seems like a little bit of a... Okay, Laporta goes right in front of me there. Jackson Dart's kind of interesting. What other tight ends could we take? Kittle. Just gonna grab Brock Purdy here. Maybe set up Kittle coming around, or just kind of get rid of get good quarterbacks. There was Kittle, but I mean, you can do Pearsall as well. It's fine. It's dribbling later. Stafford goes. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's kind of how DraftKings goes right now. Just draft a bunch of quarterbacks kind of in this range because not a lot of appealing options. I mean, obviously, if I knew I can get Warren at 92, maybe that changes the Tootin pick. Maybe it changes one of these picks, but just never know. So, all right, a little bit of a run quarterbacks here. Love, Shuck. Let's go ahead and do Pearsall here. I don't necessarily love Pearsall, but gives me a stack, gives me a third receiver. He's got some upside. I think there's definitely a bull case for him. With the Kittle injury, you know, maybe he starts off the year hot, but he's a guy that gets injured all the time too, so we'll see. So 116s we're definitely be hammering tight ends probably. And starting this late at tight end, probably be a 4 tight end room. with like a Jake Ferguson type as the last, with a little bit of upside, but kind of no floor. Yeah, I think it's good to always kind of keep in mind what you want to do early on, just kind of based on construction here. I don't need, like I said, I'm perfectly fine with this running back room. Definitely will add a 5th guy, but I really don't care who that is, honestly. And I could stop at 2 quarterbacks with Dak and Purdy, or I'd like to add a 3rd, but see kind of how the room goes. The 11-hole guy still hasn't drafted a quarterback, so see what he's gonna do. Possibly setting up Baker with Godwin. Oh yeah, he's definitely setting up Baker because he has Ibuka as well. So he's gonna take Baker here. Setting up Rodgers, maybe Darnold, Mendoza. We'll see. Not too worried about it. Kelsey at 109. Doesn't seem like anybody's doing anything too crazy here. So coming around here, 116. I mean, QJ would be a nice value. I don't love QJ, but I would buy him there at 116. Other than that, probably a tight end. Kincaid's a fine first guy for a 4 tight end room. Jonathan Brooks goes. All right, QJ, let's do it. Be a little different. I think he's fine. He's fine at 116. I don't love him at 100, but this is the range where I'm be mixing him in a little bit. Especially because of how the tight ends are this year. Just once you get past Pitts, Laporta, Kittle, kind of all the same guy, really. Just need to fall in the end zone and give you your 15 points on Draftkings and ping pong weeks. So Kyler Murray, I just bashed the Vikings. Not a big Vikings fan, but 125. You have Juwan Jennings later as a back stack. Yeah, fine with that. As a little value. I like to get different, so not drafting. Okay, there he goes. So I don't even have to think about it. Definitely don't love Jake Ferguson, but I do think Dak stack. Of course, I'm going to take him there. I don't have Pickens or Lamb, so Ferguson's bull case is that one of those guys get hurt, so it's playing into that, which I like to do. You never know. I think if everybody's healthy in Dallas, he's just kind of low floor, low ceiling kind of guy, and just kind of like a Kate Otten of the Cowboys, but definitely has some upside if an injury happens. But he's a fine depth guy on a 4 tight end room, and he fulfills the stack. So, all right, 140. What kind of quarterbacks are we going to be looking at 140? No one really exciting, but let's see. Does the Kyler guy have any pieces of Minnesota, or did he just take them to? Okay, he just took them as well. So I think Kyler at 124. Sure, I'll start drafting him there, but not interested in him at like 100. So everyone to my left has at least 2 quarterbacks. There's only 2 guys that have 1 quarterback, so they're probably going to start snapping guys off here. I feel good about my receiver room and my running back rooms at this point, so I really just need tight ends at this point because I don't particularly like any of the late guys except Ferguson maybe as like a fourth tight end. I definitely am hoping for like a Sadiq to be here as like a. I think he pairs very well with someone like Ferguson, just like low upside without an injury. But Sadiq is probably gonna start the year slow, but I think gives me upside late. That's exactly what I want. I think Likely's fine too. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and grab Sadiq. You know, I do like if I'm starting late on tight end, I do want to kind of mix boring, exciting kind of picks. So there's tons of boring tight ends at this point. It's hard to find the exciting guys. So it also opens up a little Geno, third QB, which I don't hate. ADP's 167, but honestly I don't think he's coming back to me here, so I'll probably have to take him if I want him. And let's see, where is the Garrett Wilson drafter? Yeah, Garrett Wilson drafter has one. Oh yeah, I'm gonna need to take Geno here for sure if I want him, and I think he's fine. There's nobody else exciting in this range at all. Still waiting for Charbonnet's ADP to kind of balance out where it should be. 119 is kind of crazy for a guy that might not play until November, October at the best. I mean, and then you have a first-round rookie that's going to be competing with you that could just outright win the job, and I don't know. Don't love Mr. Charbonnet. But yeah, as he falls, maybe, you know, take some shots at him in this range in the right build. But yeah, I'm surprised his ADP has taken this long to kind of adjust. But it's probably just, you know, a lot of people drafting their first teams don't really, you know, I do like how Draftkings doesn't have the big injury hospital next to him. It's nice that you have to click on it to see he's questionable. So I do want to say last couple years they've had like in this screen, didn't they have like the big injury kind of square that really scared people off people? It's kind of good and bad, you know. Some of the guys that really weren't injured, it made them lower potentially for the casuals, and guys like Charbonnet correctly lowered them. All right, so let's see what this guy's gonna do now that he did not get Geno. Cleveland guys. He has Aaron Rodgers. He's got some options, but those options are kind of quickly going away. Somebody already has 4 quarterbacks, so definitely put some pressure on Jack. I'm guessing he's going to take probably a quarterback here, probably Rodgers maybe, or yeah, I mean I would do Rodgers if I was him for sure. And then probably maybe Cleveland guy or 2 later. Yeah, there's Rodgers. Okay, all right. So coming around here, I don't hate Hunter Henry, but just he's not really super exciting. Hawkinson goes there. All right, I kind of like Okonkwo. Washington's kind of wide open. He's interesting. He's a perfect tight end 3 for this team. Boring, exciting. Terrence Ferguson later. Too boring, too exciting. Kind of how I want to structure my tight end rooms. So now we're kind of at a point where start taking kind of best player available until, let's see, where's Ferguson go? Ferguson goes 213. This is the Stafford drafter. He has 2 tight ends. Maybe he likes Colby Parkinson. I don't know. Can't. Probably 197 is where I'll take Ferguson. So what are we looking at here? So don't want Algier and Love, that's for sure. Probably need a receiver. What receivers are here? Don't want Ayuk without probably Stribling. Just double stack Purdy up. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, him and Pearsall. Kittle starts off slow. He's old. Fine with that. Still have a lot of guys, you know. I mentioned Flournoy earlier. I think he's definitely viable. Keeps painting the narrative with Ferguson of maybe Pickens or Lamb gets hurt. Kind of hit the nuts there, but yeah, he's also probably going to run a decent amount of routes. I'm sure they're going to run 3 receivers to get him out. But yeah, there's just so many late receivers that I'm fine with to kind of mix in. It's exactly why I like to start with a lot of running backs early. Still have a guy that doesn't even have a tight end yet, Car Wash Man. So let's see what he's gonna start ripping them. This guy's got 1 tight end, so another 1 tight end drafter. So definitely seems like an anti-tight end room here. You know, Ferguson's really the only guy that is interesting to me out of all these guys. So I can get him at 197, honestly. But, you know, if I don't get him, AJ Barner type at the end is also fine for this room. Have enough boring guys. I don't need these boring guys. That even more boring. Gunnar Helm, K. Dotton. No, thank you. So, any ADP values here at receiver or running back? Nick Singleton. All right, he just went. I was like, say, I'd be interested in him. Jerry Jeudy. He's a fine, dusty Cleveland guy. I'll take him at 188. Maybe just take Flournoy here as well, because I'm going to take Ferguson here. So probably just do that. Still a lot of guys that haven't taken their first tight end yet, so gonna be interesting. Well, not a lot of guys, I should say, but 1 tight end, Jocker, Car Wash Man, 0, Jay Bales, 1. Gonna see some tight ends come off the board here. So Judy, I think Judy's fine here as well, but just gonna go ahead and grab Flournoy. Pair with Dak. 2 double stacks. Still having a 3rd potential double stack if I can get Adonai Mitchell maybe down here. We'll see if he falls. I think he's also a very nice kind of late round upside guy. See if J. Roan takes Ferguson in any of these 2 picks, potentially. Also could just, I mean, Dalton Schultz starts to become more interesting at 197. Yeah, I think I would probably actually lean Schultz, honestly, at 197. I think this is where he becomes very viable. I'm surprised the Stroud guy didn't. Well, I guess he's auto drafting. So, yeah, I mean, I'll just take the ADP value on Schultz, 4th tight end, lock it up. Not exciting, but certainly more exciting than AJ Barner, Stowers, Gunnar Helm. Honestly, probably more excited than the 4 Rams tight ends too. So, yeah, I like that value. So this is probably going to be a 3-5-8-4. So, going to do 1 more running back, 2 more receivers. Like I said, Adonai Mitchell would be a good pick for this team. Maybe Caleb Douglas, little Dolphin at the end. I like him. It was like the last pick. No one really seems to like him. People are just the market's really just pricing in Chris Bell as superior, and we'll see. Coming off an ACL tear, and also the Dolphins drafted Caleb Douglas ahead of Chris Bell, so okay to just see if the Dolphins actually like this guy that they drafted ahead of him. Car Wash Man takes his first tight end, Colby Parkinson. Good luck to you, sir. That is going to be tough. Adonai Mitchell goes. What running backs do we have here? Katron Allen. Are people caught on to Sean Tucker? No. But I also have Bucky, so not on this team. But yeah, I could get with some Katron Allen if he's there. It's a wide open, yeah, not wide open room. I also could just lock up Sean Tucker. I know it's kind of boring, but yeah, I think Tucker is fine to pair with Bucky. Don't typically do it, but just not a lot of guys I really like down here at running back, so the last 2 picks definitely gonna be receivers. Wicks, Fields, Coleman, even Bateman, one of those type, I guess, and then we can go for Caleb Douglas, last pick. I think it was Ferguson, so all right, you got Ferguson. Kim and Schultz are close. Schultz is going to give you more during the week to week, but Ferguson definitely has more upside. All right. I think Fields is fine. Could easily be the receiver 2 at some point for the Giants. I don't think Slayton or Mooney are very good. So also Neighbors, we haven't heard much about his injury, kind of how he's doing. So yeah, Fields could just be a guy that kind of sends early into a role. That's really all you're looking for down here is, can they have a role? I think he can. And some upside, obviously. You're going to lean upside versus kind of boring Keon Coleman. I'd much rather have him over Mooney. I just don't think Mooney's very good. What are the receivers down here? Keenan Allen, is he even going to play? Bateman. Kind of boring. All these guys, just lots of question marks. Kyle Williams, I don't know. New England guys, the Kyle Williams is kind of interesting to throw in maybe. But yeah, Caleb Douglas, I think, is kind of my last pick on DraftKings right now. So Car Wash Man, his tight end room, Colby Parkinson, Greg Dulcich. He has 2 Miami receivers pretty early. Malik Willis. So, all right, making a pretty big bet on Miami here. Does he also have Achane? He has Achane as well, so making a very big bet on Miami. He has Burrow, Mason Taylor. All right. And then he has a Brissett Wilson stack. And then just Joe Burrow hanging out. Maybe rushing a couple touchdowns in week 17. I mean, I think other years, this is why I like to take tight ends a little in the early side, because there were options down here other years. I just feel like there aren't options anymore. I guess you could argue Greg Dulcich is an option, but not really for me. I mean, honestly, Mason Taylor over Gesicki is kind of questionable when you have Burrow unstacked, but it is what it is. All right, Bateman goes there, so just take our boy, if we can scroll deep enough for him, Caleb Douglas. Very fine late round pick. Dolphins' first receiver they drafted. Obviously, you know, probably will sign one of Debo, Diggs, one of those guys, but I think if they do, I mean, Chris Bell, like I said, coming off the ACL. Really, all you want down here, like I said, just is a roster spot. I can't imagine their first receiver they drafted is not going to have a roster spot, so I'm cool with that. A little bit of upside. Everybody hates him as a prospect, so maybe he's really good. Definitely like him more than Jalen Tolbert and Tutu Atwell. Kind of like Mooney. You can just confidently say those guys are just not NFL receivers. Tolbert, Atwell, Mooney. Very easy to say those guys are just not. Shouldn't be playing on an NFL team. All right, let's review the team here. Actually, I'd like to review it in this mode. Looks a little better. So, a 3-5-8-4 build. A little different, but kind of how I like to build my teams this year. JSN, Jeremiah Love, Nico Collins, Bucky Irving, Travion Henderson, Bashal Tootin. Quarterback room of Prescott, Purdy, Geno Smith, Pearsall, QJ, falling QJ at 116. Kind of just a luxury pick there. Ferguson, Sadiq, Okonkwo, Schultz. So kind of a boring, not a ton of upside tight end room, but I guess Sadiq gives it some upside. At least there's one upside piece. We have Stribling, Pearsall double stacked with Purdy. We have Flournoy, Ferguson double stacked with Dak. Sean Tucker. You know, I think he's a fine pick with Bucky. I don't love it, but just wasn't a lot of options down here for me that I liked more than him, honestly. So even if he is just a contingent kind of safety pick for Bucky, that's fine. Fields and Douglas just taking some shots at some upside down there. Have another rookie upside swing. Kind of a boring contingent pick. Two guys that are probably maybe 10-point guys a week, but I'll give you some spikes. And then two really good receivers that can kind of carry the room I'm going to hope for. So, yeah. So I'm trying to build. These kind of teams right here. All right. So that's number 27. Let's go ahead and hop into number 28 on the draft cycle here. Let's see if anyone gotten really crazy with some numbers here. 42 for Madison. 47, 59 just for funzo. Wow. Renegades 88. Recognize that name from the higher stakes streets. 88 already. Or I'm sorry, 70. His name's 88. 70 drafts already. Guy is drafted, man. All right. Let's dive into another one. Cool names. Snot Fan, Capped 5, Jostle Hazen, Jose the Destroyer. So Draftkings, you know, they fill pretty quickly. I like to see. This will probably be our last draft of stream here, so just getting used to streaming. It's kind of fun just to see how it goes. I'm sure it takes a while just for a new YouTube account to reach any human, but we'll see. See how it goes. Where's My Mom has entered the chat here, or the draft. Good name. Always check on your mom. I would love to know if Draftkings is going to do. They gave us this $1 best ball ticket, and there's no $1 contest, so pretty interesting. Madden stream. I could enter a Madden stream with it, which I'm guessing is just a Madden simulation of a game, and then you play DFS off of that. Sounds pretty awful. Sounds very like COVIDian times of gambling on weird things, but let's see. Are there any other best, like, what else can I use this ticket on? Alright, NFL Madden stream. I don't even know what that is. Enter with ticket. Yeah, I mean, there's no $1 best ball. Oh, actually there are. Slow drafts. What does that entail? Sit and go. So this is like a first place is $5. So it's almost like a cash game, just playing against your pod mates, I guess. Interesting. Maybe I'll rip a slow draft. That'll be interesting. That'll be very exciting. All right, 10 out of 12. We're getting there. Let's see who else has joined here. $5 bill and Clark. Welcome. Welcome in. I do like that on DraftKings, how that kind of shows you who is waiting with you. It's kind of fun. Underdog, you just see a silhouette filled and just guessing. I wonder how quickly the higher stakes draft is filling here. Monster Millionaire. I'm definitely gonna enter some of these. It'll be fun to enter, probably on stream a couple times. That'll be cool. 53 people. Pretty slow. These are pretty hard to fill this time of year. Might do like a slow one of these. These are always fun too. All right, looks like we have started. Pretty sure this guy was in my last draft. Jostel Hazen. Good to see you, my friend. There's Where's My Mom. I'm the 9 hole here. It's a fine place to draft from. Clark, nice. Looks like a what's the Chevy? What's that car called? I'm blanking on it. Sports car. Chevy sports car. Yeah, what's this car right here? Corvette. It's got a Corvette. Alright, so in the 9 hole, would definitely take St. Brown, James Cook, Genty. Like I said, not really interested in Jefferson here. He always goes earlier, but just not really what I'm doing, but you know, could also see it. I'll probably mix them in, but let's see. What did Jostle Hazen do last frame? Get some intel on him. Which one of these? I think it's the bottom one. All right. Is this draft? Yeah. Oh, and Jostle Hazen was to my left last time. Oh, he's not to my left, but 4-hole. Is that where he is this time? Yeah, he's in the 4-hole again. All right. So Jostle Hazen went pretty heavy receiver, really heavy receiver. Wow. All right. So he just went ultra zero running back strategy. All right. So got a little intel on him. See if he does the same thing or if he mixes it up. Is he gonna take Chase this time? Maybe diversify his ultra zero running back build. Yeah, he does. Smart. Here's the big three. JT. McCaffrey went pretty early. So obviously I'll take St. Brown or Cook here. I think it'll be a good start. Justin Jefferson goes. Perfect. We'll take St. Brown. Happy with him at 9. Todd with a 1D. Oh, without 1D. Todd with 1D, but he has it with 2 Ds. Interesting. Interesting name. Where's my mom? Grabs CD. Um, 12-13 hole is actually kind of fun to draft from because just kind of see what people give you. Genty A-chain, pretty standard. So I started receiver here. I definitely would like a running back, hopefully Walker, but I think one of the Chiefs would be my pick here. We'll see what Todd with 1D does. He grabs Josh Allen. Bills fan. I'm going to go ahead and just grab Kenneth Walker here. And, he's a perfectly fine start. Like I said, I don't like Amari and Hampton very much this year, so I think I did draft Amari and Hampton once, maybe like 26. I think in this range is kind of where Hampton should be going. Kind of like, I think Hampton Jacobs is kind of like where I'm like, all right, makes me think a little bit. But yeah, I just think Chase Brown, Henry, Love, just better clicks for me than Amari and Hampton. JT Rice is a nice start. Neighbors Puka, a lot of upside there. Jostle Hazen, let's see if he continues his ultra zero running. Oh no, Kyron Williams. So he takes a pretty. Oh wow, and now we're getting crazy here. Scattaboo 22, Kyron 21. Jostle Hazen is changing up his strategy. He is no longer ultra zero running back. He is now taking Kyron Williams in the second round. All right. Truly the Wild West of best ball Draftkings. The crown is yours. Still no Brock Bowers yet. I would have Been a very nice start there. But McBride's not terrible either at that price. Obviously, we love Love, so we're probably going to get a pretty unique pick here since we've already had Scattaboo, Kyron, Josh Allen go pretty early. We'll see how it works out. So we got Gibbs, Henry, Love. That's a very strong start. Bowers, Scattaboo, McCaffrey. Interesting. See what Jostle does here. AJ Brown. Oh, I'm sorry. Javonte. So Jostle's changing up here. Maybe he's going hero wide receiver build now. I actually don't hate Javonte over Jacobs, but I think it's close. So for me here, it's definitely, I mean, let's see. Nico, I would definitely take a falling Jacobs at 33. Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely because Brees is gone. So I'm fine with Jacobs here. Kind of unique. Todd with 1D is milking the clock. Probably searching for DJ Moore to stack with his Ultra Bills stack. Yeah, Olave, okay. So coming around here, I'm definitely going to be looking, well, ETN would be a really good pick. I can't really bring up Scattaboo anymore. Now he's gone. Don't really want Bucky again. Loveland would be kind of interesting. I guess ETN would be the dream pick here at 40. I guess probably would have to grab a receiver if not. See if Todd is gonna start maybe a New Orleans stack with ETN, or yeah, it takes DJ Moore. Okay, so there's his Ultra Bills. So yeah, I love ETN here at 40. I think that's a good pick. Unique, good start there. Walker, Jacobs, ETN. Probably won't see that too often with St. Brown. Frees us up at 57 to take another running back, or maybe a falling receiver. Maybe the falling Lamar or something like that, but so Jose is leaning into a little bit of a Chargers build here. An early Judkins, 44. We'll be getting a little nervous with running backs. Waddle, 45. This guy's been a little wild card. Let's see what he does here. Took a very early Scattaboo. I mean, Ibuka, don't love him over here, but would definitely select him on this side of the board. Especially for Jay-Z Cap when he started with 3 stud running backs. So Ibuka goes to tie here. Definitely an interesting start because typically you can get Scatabo here and then, you know, it's almost like you're taking Ibuka at 22 then. I don't know. I don't understand doing that, but definitely a strategy. Jackson with Henry. It's just a kind of a little worse way to go Allen. Or I'm sorry, yeah, a little worse way to go Allen and Cook because Allen actually throws to Cook. Derrick Henry does not catch a lot of passes. Yeah. But hey, it could change. New offensive coordinator. Maybe he wants to get the ball in Henry's hands in the air. Price 53, Henderson 52, Swift. Definitely some guys I have my eye on. Loveland still hasn't gone. Would love to get him here. Burden as well. This is where those guys definitely very interested in them when they're here. What other running back would I be interested in? Montgomery. All right, so Burden does go. That sucks. Yeah, I think this is the time when we just take David Montgomery, kind of lock in the running back room, because there's a lot of the same type of receiver coming around. It's a pretty unique room. Puts a little pressure on these. Where's my mom? Todd. Are they gonna get spooked by having one running back, or are they gonna maybe take something they didn't want? Doesn't seem like it. Looks like Where's my mom is kind of leaning into the hero running back build here with Barkley. Todd with 1D, same. This is where Mike Evans, Rome become pretty interesting. Alright, Evans goes with Burrow, Higgins. Tootin still available. So Tootin goes Where's my mom. Alright, RJ Harvey. Interesting. I think Rome with an M fits this team pretty nicely here. A little fall. Maybe we see Caleb fall. Probably not, but you never know. But also doesn't have to. A little division correlation with St. Brown, potentially for a fantasy playoff matchup down the line. I think if Rome and Watson weren't there, I probably would have just grabbed one of these quarterbacks, but you think those guys make sense as a wide receiver too on this team. So, all right, Scattaboo guy grabs Dart early. That makes sense. He definitely is a Giants fan. So grabs Mekhi Lemon a little early. Interesting. Maybe he's going to rip off two quarterbacks quickly with a Hurts here. We'll see. So Devontae Smith drafters over here, so could see a little Hurts slide in this draft, potentially. Guess we'll see. I guess it really depends on Ty here. Alright, Brian Thomas Jr. So, yeah, we could see, definitely see Hurts falling to me here, potentially. Don't want to get too excited. Lawrence for Jocelyn Hazen. Okay. Dak. Does he have Pickens or? Yeah, he does not. Interesting. $5 bill got a very nice value on Loveland. Is he? Well, I guess Caleb's gone. And also Dak is gone. And Lawrence is gone. So $5 bill is probably like, what the hell just happened? But he takes Hurts. All right. It's a good pick. So that kind of takes away all of our quarterbacks that we like there, but not going to worry about it. I'm going to start our tight end room off with little Harold Fan in action. 88, we'll probably grab a Mahomes, maybe. Fine with that. Mahomes, 88, maybe 105. We could set up Goff. Be a fine start. Where's My Mom starts her or his tight end room with Tucker Kraft. Let's see what MJS has going on here. He has a Burrow Higgins stack with Wilson, Evans, Achane, Genty. Very balanced start. Very by the book. Takes a value Pierce. Don't hate it here. Don't love it in 70, but it's fine here. Jalen Warren, that's a very solid running back 3. So, yeah, it's a good start from this guy. Where's My Mom grabs Pollard. His or her third. Todd with 1D. Grabs Bo Nix. All right, I'll take a little Patrick Mahomes here at 88. Don't want to fall too far behind at quarterback. Still have my number 2 option of Goff here as well to pair with St. Brown. Got an 89 Kyler. It's pretty early, but he has Jefferson, so probably forcing it a little bit there. 90 Stafford. Yeah, this is kind of typical DraftKings, man. Gotta get your quarterbacks. Seems like there's, a lot of quarterbacks have gone early in this room, so definitely a quarterback hungry room. Something to keep in mind. Michael Wilson at 92. Definitely a better ADP than he's going. But, yeah, Marvin Harrison at 73. It makes the Marvin Harrison at 73 look a lot worse, in my opinion. So this guy still has 1 running back. Going with a Hero Bijan build. Just putting his foot down on receivers. Does get Kyle Monungai as a running back 2. Do not love that at all. Jaden Reed. So, all right, like I said, obviously Laporta, we would take the fall on. Even maybe Kittle, depending on if Purdy's still there. But yeah, good old-fashioned Goff. Good old-fashioned Goff St. Brown as a second quarterback never hurt anybody. That is for sure. Chris Rodriguez at 100 as his 5th running back for Jostle. So Jostle, we saw him go 0 running back last draft, and he is ripping off 5 guys pretty quickly here. So keeping us on our toes is Jostle. Laporta Pitts, I like that combo, but he actually has 3 tight ends. Wow. So Loveland, Pitts, Laporta. Don't hate it. Bucky Chase Brown as your only 2, though, is a little concerning. All right. So I do like Purdy a lot. Purdy at 105 is pretty good, man. Just gonna grab Purdy here. Pearsall comes around, great. If not, don't really need him. If Goff comes back around, maybe put some pressure on the room and take him, which he certainly could. Where's My Mom grabs Love as his or her first. I don't know why I keep saying her for Where's My Mom, but first quarterback. So MJS's team I thought looked pretty good, so we'll see what he does here. He's got a 1-3-4. He's probably looking at tight ends, I'm assuming. Pittman, very good pick. We'll see if he Pearsall. Okay. So I guess the problem with Goff here would be I would be falling pretty far behind at receiver with only a Dunze and St. Brown. Would have liked to have Myers there. Who else is available? I don't love Josh Downs, but I think he kind of fits this team a little bit, and also kind of sets up Danny Dimes at 130. Yeah, sets up Danny Dimes at 136, so I think that's fine. You know, knowing I could have had Purdy and Goff probably makes the Mahomes pick a little worse. Oh, I forgot I had Worthy too. Guess I could have had Worthy with Mahomes, but I do like Josh. I probably like Josh Downs better, honestly, than Worthy, so that's fine. Where's the JMO? I mean, the JMO guy. Yeah, Goff. Okay, doesn't even get to the JMO guy. So this guy just grabs. Oh, it's our friend Jossel Hazen grabs Goff with a little bit of discount. That's fine. Could have had I'm sure I'll have, you know, the same build, similar build with Goff at 105, but just think Purdy has a little more upside. Don't need to stack Goff with St. Brown. So I think coming up we're gonna be looking at tight ends. Is Kelsey gone? Probably. Kelsey has gone. Okay. So probably won't have any stacks from Mahomes. Maybe like a late. Well, Draftkings Tyreek goes pretty early. Yeah, 152. Would have liked to have like a late Tyreek. Could slide. Early Mendoza. Interesting. This is also from the early Scattaboo guy. Has Bowers. Back stackable. $5 bill grabs a nice deal on Mayfield there. Gadsden goes. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, Kincaid. Kincaid it is. Perfectly viable tight end 2. Nice little discount on him as well. He's been going around this range, so getting him after Gadsden feels pretty good. And like we said earlier, I think the next pick will probably be Danny Dimes. Just lock up the quarterback room. We have 2 other. Well, I guess the only issue with Danny Dimes is it does bring into a possibility of 2 guys with kind of slow injury starts, but we do have Purdy to kind of carry the load early for us. Our favorite Sadiq goes there anyway, so that makes me feel even better about taking Dimes here. So we lock in a stack. Still have Stribling available for Purdy later. Are there any other? I guess, like I said, Tyreek Hill is kind of the exciting potential later stack, but I don't like his ADP on DraftKings. So we'll just see if he falls. Oh, and also, completely forgot Ken Walker. So we already have a stack with Mahomes. Yeah, so that's cool. So just really need to focus on definitely another tight end, receivers. Let's see how it falls here. Let's see the 150 range. I mean, so Tyreek Hill 152. Would we take Tyreek Hill at 160 for some upside? Potentially. It's a lot that has to fall right, but I mean, if Tyreek Hill was like, hey, I'm ready week 4, like 100% next year, ramp up a little bit those first 4 weeks, and he goes to the Chiefs, and he's kind of like the Tyquan Thornton role. I mean, yeah, I think he would be a great pick here, and that's all very possible. So yeah, I think maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do it at 160. I think it fits with Mahomes. Even Washington, you know, not the worst landing spot. Could see him going to. You know, Jaden throws a great deep ball. Who knows how fast Tyreek even is at this point, but probably fast enough to still just be a downfield stretcher of the football field. So McMillan at 142, ADP 153. Maybe just take him as a boring receiver. Probably fits well with Tyreek Hill after him, honestly. Yeah, I think we'll just take the ADP discount on McMillan here and just take a boring receiver there as a kind of just a help guy. If we're gonna take Tyreek Hill potentially here, we're gonna need some guys who we know are gonna be playing. Also could take Stribling here. Where's Stribling's ADP? 178. I think I'm okay to push him here. I don't want to take Stribling on every Purdy team, and also could just fall to kind of where he is. But yeah, like I said many times, this area just really doesn't matter as far as ADP goes, especially at this point in the draft cycle. No one really knows what's going to happen. I think if this was if I knew that everyone here was a good best ball drafter, I would just let Tyreek fall, but I just don't think he's going to come back to me at 177, where I would rather feel like he feels like a little better value there. But honestly, what am I really missing out on here? Not much. And there's other boring guys to take at 178, like Jerry Jeudy, Ridley. Stribling would be nice, but probably not going to make it there. So Chig goes there. Yeah, just do it. Let's take Tyreek Hill. Swing on a KC signing late season help in the playoffs. That's really all this team needs at that point. So we have St. Brown, we have Adunze, we have Downs, solid wide receiver 3. McMillan could play a larger role for Tampa this year, especially with Godwin not looking great last year, and Ibuka really just disappearing. So yeah, I mean, I don't hate McMillan here. Do need a third tight end for sure. Depending on who that is, will depend on if it's a 4 tight end team or not. At this point, it's going to be the boring Schultz types. But, you know, Fannin and Kincaid is fine. So yeah, Stribling goes pretty early. He's been going early a lot. So pretty much knew I was going to get him back here. But like I said, the Ridley, Jeudy types probably fit this team fine as well. Still have a person with no tight ends, not fan. A couple of guys to my right have one tight end, so they're gonna be coming off the board here pretty quickly. I mean, yeah, I don't like Dalton Schultz, but I think he's a clear tier above like Barner, Stowers, Otten, Helm, so definitely would just take him here if he falls. Also, wouldn't hate just going, if I don't get, okay, I don't get Schultz, so I honestly don't even hate waiting for Terrence Ferguson and then just taking Elijah Arroyo with my last pick, making that my 4 tight end room. 2 solid guys, and then 2 kind of upside swings, potential zeros, so yeah. We're flexible here. Early Fields, and it wasn't even to the Giants guy, right? Yeah. It wasn't. It's interesting. But yeah, I mean, I'm taking Malachi Fields as well. I've been drafting him a lot in this range, but if he's going to rise up like that, then I'll be happy about those picks. All right, it's come up to us here. So now that we don't need a 3rd tight end yet, well, let's see. Where's the Stafford drafter? So Stafford drafter has no tight ends. So I'm assuming they just took Barner. I'm guessing they're going to take potentially Ferguson with these 2 picks. So I think I'm going to have to take Ferguson at 184, which is fine. Just take the ADP discount on Jalen Naylor. I think he's fine for what this team needs. Just a solid. When you draft a guy like Tyreek Hill, it could be a 0. You just need some solid depth options at this point. So yeah, I do think Ferguson is going to be 184. I'm going to take him a little ahead of ADP. And then we're going to shoot for like an Arroyo with my final pick. Does he even have an ADP? Let's see. Yeah, he does. 230. Very, very undrafted typically. These are the guys I just want to avoid this year. Otten and Helm, just 0 upside whatsoever. Torrey Horton, all right. So yeah, I think we're just gonna grab the guy that has upside, Mr. Ferguson. So Snot Fan is gonna be probably grabbing Parkinson, I'm guessing. Hank Dell, maybe he's pushing Parkinson. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like Rams tight ends, or maybe he likes Davis Allen. There's a million Rams tight ends. Max Clare. He's a Max Clare guy. Isn't there another Rams tight end too? Let's see. Higbee, yeah. Maybe he's a Higbee guy. This team doesn't need a 5th running back, but we'll definitely take one. Like a Sean Tucker-esque guy. Justin Fields, 189. The Field Stack from Jostle. Our friend. Interesting. All right, let's come back around here. It's probably gonna be a running back, 2 receivers. Barner, or I'm sorry, not Barner. Arroyo. I think he's a fine last pick as a 4th tight end. Because every other tight, I mean, is there any other tight end that I'd want to even click on here? I guess maybe Dulcich. If I had Malik Willis, maybe Dulcich is a fine 4th tight end, but. Purdy, Mahomes, Dimes. It's a fine room. Not great. But, you know, there was kind of an avalanche here of all the pretty good quarterbacks, and I did get Roma Dunze, who I typically don't have as like a, I don't have a quality or caliber of that as a wide receiver too usually, so I'll take that. So I definitely would have wanted Dylan Sampson here. He's gone. Still like Sean Tucker. Might just take a receiver here and see if we can grab Tucker at the 208. We'll see if Snotfan grabs Parkinson. If he likes AJ Barner, I bet he loves Colby Parkinson. Very similar players. Yep, he does. I like Ferguson. I like Arroyo. A little different. But I get the logic. All right, so Judy or Jeremy or Flournoy. 201. You got to take a swing on little dusty Jerry Judy. Maybe he's just the best Browns receiver this year. I'm willing to take that bet at 201 versus this 170 range. Even I'll still do it here too, but feels much better to click him at 200. So we already have a 4 tight end drafter as well. So to keep an eye out. Capped has 1 tight end, McBride. Who's the 4 guy I have? He has Gadsden, Hawkinson, Njoku, Kittle. It's a okay room. I don't know about the double Charger tight end, but he's pretty Charger heavy, this guy. Conkey, Hampton, Herbert. Yeah, he's got a lot of Chargers. So 3, 4, 7, 3. I'm going to go running back here, receiver here, Arroyo here, 3, 5, 8, 4 is what I'm looking for. It's kind of been my kind of standard build right now. Although Jeremy Bernard would definitely be my click if he is here. Let's see, any Rodgers guy? Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, he might fall here. Could. If he does, I'll go ahead and take him. Yeah, he doesn't. I was going to say, I'd definitely take him over running back there. Even Mitchell. Kind of interesting. I'll just take Mitchell, honestly. There's always a scrub running back to take later. I think Adonai has some juice to him. Could be the... Just hoping for like a, you know, one of the 3 receivers in the Jets, and maybe he's just better than Omar Cooper. 208, I think is a very fair price for him. So then now we're hoping we get Sean Tucker back this direction. Ray Davis. You know, one of the San Francisco guys. Probably prefer Black just as he's a rookie, but I mean, Jordan James is probably the guy that might be the Vegas favorite as number 2, but I don't know. They did overdraft Kalen Black pretty heavily, so we'll see. See what we get. We'll see what options we have here. So Snotfan grabs Dulcich as his 3rd tight end. So very gross tight end room from him. Also kind of has a little hero running back build going here with Rice, Collins, Flowers, Adams, Tyson, Williams, Dell with Bryce, Stroud, and Stafford. So, interesting team. Not how I want to be building this year, but can see the upside. Needs, you know, probably needs like a Kyron injury. Needs Dobbins to be kind of, you know, lead carry guy for sure. Krosky Merritt, lead carry guy in Washington. Chuba Hubbard, get most of the snaps. And yeah, this team could be pretty good if all that stuff happens. But then the issue is the tight end room. Not sure where he's going to get any weekly ceiling or production from, but you never know. All right, Ray Davis goes. It's a very solid pick for what he is. Contingent guy. Not a lot of weekly floor, but not really what you're drafting for down here. Jalen Knowles, a name I haven't seen in a while. There goes Kalen Black. So not an option for me anymore. So it could be Jordan James if Sean Tucker's not here. Would prefer Tucker. Tucker goes. So Claiborne also goes. Yeah, I guess Jordan James it is. Okay to just kind of take what's left there. Could be the running back 2 potentially, or just, you know, probably gonna make the team, so there's that going for him. But yeah, like I said, I don't really need a ton with these 4 running backs to really contribute at all. Just be contingent guy and give me some upside if there's an injury. We already know who our final pick is going to be. Mr. Elijah Arroyo. Maybe the tight end 2 in Seattle. Maybe the tight end 1. I don't think Barner's very good, so if AJ Barner's the only guy that's keeping you from the field, I do not hate this pick as the last pick. Especially, you know, year 2 tight ends, just athletic year 2 tight end guys are usually not super productive in the first year. And he did get hurt, like the final 5 games plus the playoffs, he was hurt. So there goes our boy Douglas to the Willis drafter. It's a good pick. Yeah, go ahead and lock in Mr. Arroyo here as tight end 4. We'll see how the final round goes here. Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin. Does he also have? He has 10 receivers. Does he have? His Sutton? Yeah. So he's just going with the big Broncos explosion. Interesting. Harvey as well. Wow. Allen, Cook. So this guy just picking his teams, man. J.J. McCarthy with Murray. Zach Ertz to Jostle. I don't know what Zach Ertz is going to be doing this year, but I'm not sure if it's playing football. Same with Odell Beckham Jr. I think I saw like maybe Giants potentially, but who knows? Could just be completely done. Chimere DK. I guess could be upside, maybe. I don't know. Didn't really do much with his limited role last year. Omar. And then good old Oscar Delp. A lot of people seem to like this guy. Definitely do not like him as a tight end too. You know, I guess he's kind of like an Arroyo. Maybe less likely to be good just because of second year, first year. Big leap for these guys. But yeah, definitely do not like to do this with just, you know, obviously McBride's elite, but he's going to have some down weeks. And he has a bye week. And this guy's probably a 0. So, you know, Just a lot of dart throws at running back, contingencies. Probably could have one of those. Probably could have been a tight end, honestly. But that's fine. So let's go through the team here. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kenneth Walker, Josh Jacobs, Travis Etienne Jr., David Montgomery. Nice running back field there. Roma Dunze as a receiver 2, Harold Fannin, tight end 1, Mahomes, Purdy, Josh Downs, wide receiver 3, Kincaid as a tight end 2, Daniel Jones, quarterback 3. So a little bit of a risk with him and Mahomes. Could kind of start off slow, but we have Purdy. McMillan, just a little bit of depth. Same with Naylor. Tyreek Hill as a kind of upside swing, potentially signing with the Chiefs, maybe. Hope. Terrence Ferguson and Arroyo, kind of the 3 and 4 tight end upside swings. Judy, Mitchell, maybe spike week potential. And then Jordan James, just another contingent running back 5 in a good room. So, yeah. Very fine team. 2 fine teams drafted today on stream, so. But yeah, the 3-5-8-4. That's how I like to build on DraftKings right now. Well, it depends. Kind of let it come as it goes here, but yeah, I think that's going to end it for the stream. Thank you to any of you that watched. And we will be back with probably Underdog next, so